Hey everyone, I am Ananya and today we are once again diving into the mysterious, cold, and chilling world of Death Note. A world where every breath gives birth to a new secret. If you noticed in the last episode, the story has now reached a point where the line between truth and lies has become blurred. So without wasting any more time, let's begin Death Note Chapter 9, The Cold Winter Night. Death Note Chapter 9 opens on a cold winter night, where snow is gently falling over the city. A girl is standing alone on a flyover, the wind brushing against her face. There is anger burning in her eyes, but behind it lies an unspeakable sorrow. She whispers to herself, Rai is not dead, he was killed by Kira. Her voice trembles, and she turns around, disappearing suddenly into the snow. The frame slowly shifts to L, who begins to speak in his calm yet intense voice. If Kira can control his victims' actions before they die, then for him to get the file sent to all 12 of them and then kill them afterward, it means something crucial. All 12 FBI agents who were killed had files containing photographs of the others involved in the mission. Kira must have seen one agent's file, made him send it to all the others, and then killed him. In that FBI case, the agent Kira had direct contact with was among those who were supposed to receive the file. That means Kira needed to know all their faces before he could act. So the key isn't the exact time of their deaths, it's the order in which they received the file. The scene shifts to Light's home, where the entire Yagami family is sitting together at the dinner table. Light's father clears his throat and begins the conversation. Soichiro says, why the meeting? We are not celebrating anything new, are we? It's not even New Year's yet. Their mother softly interrupts, be quiet Sayu. Sayu looks at her father with wide eyes and says, wow, I guess I kind of knew. But still, you are amazing, Dad. Soichiro looks serious and replies, I'm in charge of the special task force that's investigating the Kira case. He pauses for a moment before continuing, there's no point in hiding it, as you'll find out eventually anyway. So I'm telling you this now. But that isn't what I wanted to tell you. 12 FBI agents were sent here to Japan yesterday to track down Kira. All 12 of them were found dead. Light says, you mean they were killed by Kira? What? Sayu responds in disbelief. Vatari continues, in other words, anyone who tries to apprehend Kira may be killed. Morale is low. A lot of my detectives are quitting the case. And who can blame them? They fear for their lives. I can't force them to stay on when we're dealing with such a cruel and heartless murderer. Sayu quickly speaks up, then you quit too, Dad. What if he tries to kill you? Their mother adds with concern, she's right. Your life is more important than your career. All you have to do is resign. No. I'm seeing this case through to the end. I will not succumb to evil. Sayu says softly, Dad. Vatari's wife adds with concern, dear. Light sits silently, his head lowered. For a moment, the room falls quiet. Then he slowly rises to his feet and looks at his father. I'm proud of you, Dad. You're absolutely right. If anything happens to you, Dad. A cold determination settles over the room as Light stands abruptly. The words leave him like a vow carved in ice. I'll see that Kira gets the death penalty, I swear it. He moves away from the table, his footsteps heavy. The door shuts with a hard, echoing slam that seems to push the warmth from the air. Light walks away and slams the door hard. A single voice calls after him, small and surprised, pulling every eye to the doorway. Mother. Light. The family turns as one. Light does not look back. He begins to climb the stairs, each step a quiet retreat into the resolve that sits under his calm. Everyone turns toward the door. Light begins to climb the stairs. Ryuk speaks from behind. From the shadows of the stairwell, Ryuk comments with lazy amusement, his tone like a dry wind in a graveyard. Ryuk. That was worth an Academy Award. Light keeps going, not pausing, answering without a backward glance. His voice is steady, almost casual, but it carries the cold weight of what he means. Light. Gotta hand it to you, you amazed me yesterday to the way you killed those FBI agents. A cut. The city swallows light and warmth and the scene opens underground where the human tide presses against the platform edges. The fluorescent lights hum, distant and clinical. Scene shift. Shinjuku Station underground. Light stands in the dark fringe, watching faces flow past like anonymous targets. His silhouette is a shadow among shadows. The platform is packed with humans. Light stands in the shadows watching the crowd. He scans the crowd with the unsettling calm of someone who calculates consequences like clockwork. Light. Wow, this is a lot of humans, you gonna do it here? A voice answers, smooth, confident. It lays out the cold experiments of a mind that treats death like a laboratory result. Kira. I have been doing a lot of research and experiments the past 6 days. Now you will see the results. Light reacts with a single word, curiosity folded into disbelief. Light. Experiments. The explanation follows, clinical and precise, revealing a method that turns intention into execution through paper and name. Kira. Aha, I used the death note on a bunch of local criminals to test different ways of killing them. If I write the cause of death details first and then write a name later, the person dies that way. Light shows a flicker of surprise, information landing and rearranging his plan. Light. I did not even know that. Footsteps cross the platform. Rai appears, moving through the crowd unaware of the trap tightening around him. Rai walks into view. Light spots him and moves quietly, hiding behind his jacket. Light narrows the distance, a predator folding the last measure of space between them. Light. There he is. He falls into step behind Rai, careful, precise. Then he moves in front and blocks the path as if the world has shifted to place them alone. Light follows Rai at a distance, then steps closer and blocks his path. The line is a blade. Light delivers it without mercy, a thread that carries the finality of a judge's gavel. Light. Rai PNBR, if you turn around I will kill you. He doubles down, a whisper that feels like a drop of ice in the air. Light. I am Kira, if you turn around or put your hands in your pockets or do anything else I will kill you instantly. Rai freezes. The crowd blurs into a wall of sound. Recognition and dread cross his face like a shadow passing over sun. Rai freezes, his expression changes. His breath catches. The voice rings a bell somewhere in his memory, a chill of familiarity that refuses to fade. Rai. Oh my god, this voice, though I have heard it before. Light steps closer, the city's noise folding around them until only the scrape of footsteps and the hum of the station remain. He fixes his gaze on Rai as if reading the lines of fate itself, calm like a man who has rehearsed this moment 1,000 times. First, I am going to prove to you that I am really Kira. He points toward a nearby coffee shop with slow, deliberate motion, as if indicating the final piece of a demonstration. See that coffee shop over there, the man with glasses at the front? The employee will die in 2 minutes. Rai's panic flares before his words can form. He stumbles between disbelief and the urge to stop what is coming. You cannot stop me. Light does not waver. His voice is flat, like a verdict already delivered. But that man raped several women and could not be prosecuted because of insufficient evidence. He was a menace to society and deserved to be punished. There is no plea in Light's look, only a cold justification that feels like ice closing over a wound. It is too bad, but I figured at least one demonstration would make you believe me. He narrows his eyes, as if explaining a simple rule of the world to a child. I expect you have heard this from else, so you probably know it already, but I cannot kill someone unless I know what they look like. Rai swallows. The seconds thin into a wire. Around them the crowd moves, oblivious, while a fate written elsewhere tightens to a single, inevitable point. A cold, controlled smile crosses Light's face as he steps closer. The station noise fades away until only his voice and the hum of the crowd remain. But that also means I can kill every one of the people we see around us here. If you'd like to make a request, go ahead. I'll kill them for you. Rai's hands tremble. He swallows, the words catching in his throat. Stop, that was enough. I believe you. Light's voice softens with cruel calculation. He studies Rai as if weighing a life like an object. Of course, I suppose losing someone you love would be much harder for you than seeing strangers die. Well, guess WHO I've taken hostage. Shock flares across Rai's face. You've taken her hostage? Light inclines his head, steady and unbending. That's right, I've been studying you. And if you do anything even slightly different from what I tell you, I will kill her and your entire family as well. And you too. Of course. Rai blinks, frantic and trying to buy time. Alright, what do you want me to do? Light reaches into an envelope and passes it forward with measured calm. You have your laptop with you, correct? Does it contain a file with all the FBI agents in Japan? Rai forces brightness into his voice, masking panic. I always carry my laptop around with me. Yes. But I don't have any such file. Light slides the envelope closer, his eyes never leaving Rai. In that case, take this envelope. Rai opens it with shaking fingers. Light issues the instruction like a judge handing down a sentence. Take out the transceiver that's inside it, and put the earphone in your ear. Rai reads the word out, confused. A transceiver. Light explains with a clinical edge, like someone describing a tool for use in an experiment. It's practically a phone, but with this, there will be no communication record, and as long as we stay close it'll work even if we are underground. Gotta hand it to him. Rai's eyes flick to the other contents. What are these envelopes? Light gestures toward the train map and the flow of passengers. Now get on the Yamanote line. He points out the irrelevance of direction and the precision of his plan. It doesn't matter which direction. Light's gaze sharpens, a warning hidden beneath calm words. I'll be watching you from close by. Keep your eyes forward on one point only, the same goes for once you are on the train. He lays down the rules like a cold law. Don't ever forget that I can kill you at any time. Rai looks around for a seat with a desperate hope. Take a corner seat by the door. Light's voice is blunt, final. If both corner seats are taken, wait until they are free. Then Light moves to the critical test, the trap within the instructions. Now for a question. If your answer differs significantly from what I expect to hear, the woman you love is dead. He leans in so the words land like a stone. How many FBI agents are in Japan and how are they organized? Answer in a low voice. Into the transceiver. Rai forces his voice low, trusting hope over certainty. I heard it's 4 teams. A total of 12 agents. Light nods once, satisfied, then gives the next order. All right now. Call. Let's see, call someone. WHO has a lower rank than you, using your cell phone. Rai fumbles for his phone, obeying. Make sure I can hear the conversation over the transceiver. Light's tone brokes no argument. Tell him you want to know the names and faces of all the agents in Japan on this mission, and to send a file containing these to your computer right away. He adds the lethal caveat without emotion. If I hear anything other than that, you will be killed. Rai forces himself to speak into the phone, voice shaking but clear. This is Rai. Hi, what's going on? I need to know the names and faces of everyone in Japan on this mission. Send me the file as an email attachment. Light stands a short distance away, watching Rai's face while he speaks. Huh? You'll have to ask the chief. Rai. Don't have that information? Light's mind moves faster than panic. He offers a solution wrapped in deceit. Say there's some kind of glitch between the chief's computer and yours. And you couldn't open an email attachment he sent you before. Say it's faster if it goes through someone else's computer first. The train jerks into motion, speed pressing the world into a narrow tunnel. The train is moving very fast. Rai's eyes flick to the small envelopes in front of him. He opens one and reads the tiny instruction card. Rai looks at the letters. Light guides his hands, precise and controlled. Inside the envelope you'll find a ballpoint pen and 5 smaller envelopes. Take them all out. Rai obeys, breath shallow. All 5 of the envelopes are sealed but Light shows him the front of each one, the small slot that makes everything possible. There are open slots on the front, see them? Rai's voice cracks between shock and disbelief. What the heck? The air inside the train feels heavy. Every sound, every heartbeat, echoes like a countdown. Rai's trembling fingers hold the photographs, his breath uneven as Light's calm voice cuts through the silence. Look at the photograph of each agent in the file you just received and then write his or her name in one of the slots. Make sure each name is spelled correctly. If I find out any of the names are misspelled, you know what'll happen. Rai's eyes move rapidly over the faces. He swallows hard and nods to himself. Do not get off the train until you have finished writing every name. Light's words echo like a command from something greater than human. If you follow these instructions carefully, I guarantee that the woman and your family at least will not be touched. Rai's voice breaks as he whispers under his breath. At least so he's going to kill all the agents. Writing down their names. Then it's gotta be. He looks out the window, the reflection of his face pale and frightened. But damn, I'm dealing with a cold-blooded killer here. If I don't obey his instructions. He exhales slowly, trying to steady his hand. For now I'll just have to do what he says. If all he has are their names, he can't kill them. His thoughts flicker with desperate hope. I guess I just have to pray that someone picks up the transceiver's transmissions by chance. He shakes his head, realizing the futility. But this isn't even a proper radio. Just a cheap transceiver. And we are inside a moving train. Then Light's voice returns, calm and merciless. Looks like you are done. Put all 5 envelopes together with the transceiver back into the larger envelope. Place that on the overhead rack and then sit back down and stay on this train for at least 30 minutes with your hands on your lap. Do not move. Rai closes his eyes for a moment, his chest tight. Light's instructions continue without pause. After at least 30 minutes have passed, and when you can be sure no one in the car will notice you have left the envelope behind, get off the train. His lips tremble as a single word escapes. Why? The sound of his own voice feels distant. He grips the edge of the seat. Why can't I remember whose voice this is? The train slows. The crowd begins to stand, footsteps echoing down the platform. Rai rises weakly, moving forward with heavy steps, confusion clouding his mind. Then everyone was getting out of the train. Then he stands and starts to head ahead. Damn Kira. He grips his chest suddenly, a wave of sharp pain tearing through him. Who the hell is it? His body stiffens, the world fading at the edges. His hand presses against his heart as if to hold it in place. His nerves freeze. He can't move. His heart races in panic, then stops. He falls to his knees. His vision blurs as he collapses onto the floor. The metallic doors of the train begin to close before him. His last breath leaves his body as his fading eyes catch the figure standing at the platform. Light Yagami. Goodbye Rai Penber. The doors slide shut. Rai's lifeless body remains still as the train pulls away, disappearing into the dark tunnel. The scene fades. The next frame opens with Light in his room, reading with calm satisfaction. Now all the FBI agents have acted the same way and died of heart attacks after receiving the file. His eyes trace the list before him. But the order they died and the order they received the files were totally random. Light flips through the pages. Names and times fill the notebook. Yonegor Naomi. Heart attack. Dies at 3:05 p.m. on 27th December 2003. Rai Penber. Heart attack. Passes in front of the Kafil coffee shop in Shingoku Station Underground at 3 p.m. on 27th December 2003. Carrying his laptop computer, boards a train on the Yamanote line. Dies 3 seconds after getting off the train. He smirks, reading the rest quietly to himself. Freddy Gunter. Arire Weekwood. Leon Zapak. Tours Denote. Ale Finderim. Best Skelet. The scene changes again. A dark room, monitors flickering with reports. L speaks, his tone analytical, calm yet heavy with thought. Thank you, Director. With your computer records and information from the NPA, I've been able to work out the order they received the files, and the order they were killed. Ellis' fingers tap on the table as his voice continues. Kira, I'm sure you controlled this as much as you could. But if my deduction is correct, the order in which these agents received the file is an important clue. You were in touch with one of the first ones WHO got it. His gaze shifts slightly, thoughtful yet unyielding. The camera pans to a reflection in the glass. Inside a lonely train, a single girl rides through the empty city. The sound of the wheels fades beneath the low hum of light and shadow. And as the frame darkens, the story closes with quiet finality. The beginning of the end had already been written. And Kira was only getting started.